Let's get started with our first news. Dana White had plenty to say about Justin Gaethje's recent comments that he'd retire if he doesn't get the next title shot. Dana made it very clear he didn't like hearing that at all. He called the idea pretty wacky and said if Justin is even thinking about retiring, then maybe he actually should. Dana's attitude was classic, blunt and unfiltered, sending a message that ultimatums don't really work in the UFC. He also addressed the situation with Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett facing off in the cage after Ilia's fight. Dana was definitely not thrilled about that moment. He said it should have never happened in the first place. He was frustrated about the fact that Paddy even got into the octagon at all. Dana explained he was already back in his room at the time, or he would have stopped it himself. Ilia, after scoring his win, called Paddy into the cage for a face-off. Obviously, there's a lot of history and bad blood between those two fighters. When the media asked Dana if seeing that type of interest from Ilia makes him want to book the fight, he was pretty dismissive. He said he didn't even know who let Paddy in there, repeating that it should have never happened and calling it a bad call by whoever was responsible. He said, "I don't know. I don't really think about that stuff tonight other than obviously the Van fight, but we'll see how it plays out." Dana also made the point that Ilia's wife and kid were in the octagon too. That's not the kind of moment the UFC wants to create in their events. While he admitted it was fun to watch as a fan, he made it clear that's not how they want to run things professionally. Even if it created buzz and hype, he said it simply shouldn't have happened. Then the topic turned to Justin Gaethje's comments about retiring if he doesn't get a title shot next. Dana didn't hold back there either. He said everybody has their opinions, but he feels strongly that if you're even thinking about retirement, you probably should retire. Dana did give Justin credit for stepping up at UFC 300, acknowledging that he's been an exciting and fun fighter for the fans. But he also made it crystal clear he doesn't appreciate ultimatums. He called it pretty wacky to say, "Unless you give me a title shot, I'm retiring," and emphasized that the UFC isn't in the business of granting demands just because someone threatens to leave. It was classic Dana White, direct, no nonsense, and making sure everyone knows who's really in charge. Now, moving on to the second news, Renato Moicano released a statement about his recent loss to Beneil Dariush, and he did it in a way that really showed his character. After dropping a unanimous decision, Moicano went straight to his Instagram story and posted a heartfelt raw video for all his supporters. Right from the start, he thanked everyone for their support, acknowledging the fans who stuck by him even though things didn't go his way this time. He was completely honest about what went wrong in the fight. He admitted, "Tonight was not my night. I got a little bit tired, but Dariush executed a very good game plan." It's not easy for any fighter to admit they were outsmarted or outworked, but Moicano didn't hide from it. He spoke plainly about how the second round was a big turning point, explaining that Dariush was able to take him down and control the fight there. Moicano didn't make excuses or blame anything else. He talked about how he needs to get back to the gym and work on the holes in his game, especially his takedown defense. He said clearly, "It is what it is. I have to get back to the gym and train." You could tell he was frustrated with himself, but also determined to fix things. What made the video even more relatable was the moment where he sort of laughed at himself. He called the typical fighter statement after a loss BS, because, in his words, nobody really cares about the excuses. He knew fans have heard it all before, but he still wanted to be real with them. Even in that vulnerable moment, he managed to show humor and self-awareness. Despite the loss and the disappointment, Moicano's main message was one of gratitude and reassurance. He wanted his fans to know he was healthy and okay, despite the setback. He thanked them again for their support and promised he'd be back. He said he needs to get better and that he will. You could really feel the sincerity in his words. He wasn't trying to sell anything or hype himself up in a fake way. He was just being real, owning the defeat, acknowledging what went wrong, and promising to put in the work to come back stronger. It's that kind of humility and transparency that fans respect so much. Seeing a fighter admit their flaws, talk about their plan to improve, and still thank the people who support them, it's the kind of moment that reminds you why you root for them in the first place. Moicano may have lost the fight, but he showed a lot of heart with that message. Now let's move on to another story, the ongoing drama between Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira that just keeps getting spicier. Earlier this week, Ankalaev was hinting that the two might be heading toward a big-time rematch in October. That got fans buzzing immediately. Everyone knows there's unfinished business between these two heavy hitters, and a fall rematch sounded like a solid plan. But then, this morning, Ankalaev jumped on social media and threw cold water on all of that. On X, he posted something that really got people talking. He wrote, "Breaking news, Alex now asking he want to fight me during Ramadan again." I need more time. It was clear Ankalaev was frustrated with the timing and the whole idea of fighting during Ramadan, which is something he's made clear before is a problem for him. And he didn't exactly stay polite about it. Ankalaev let the insults fly, calling Alex a clown and saying he needs to do his homework. It wasn't just a polite decline. It was personal, sharp, and meant to sting. He went on to say he'd actually rather fight Carlos Ulberg instead because, in his opinion, Ulberg is more dangerous than any of them. That's a pretty big statement when you think about Alex Pereira's reputation as one of the scariest strikers in the game right now. This back and forth between Ankalaev and Pereira has been heating up for a while now. The first fight between them was controversial enough to leave both guys with something to prove. Fans have been waiting for them to settle it definitively in the octagon. But with Ankalaev shutting down the idea of fighting during Ramadan, it's clear he's not willing to compromise his principles or preparation. Fans are definitely paying attention to every twist and turn here. The fact that Ankalaev is now throwing Ulberg's name into the mix just adds another layer of intrigue to the light heavyweight division. Is he really serious about wanting to face Ulberg next? Or is this a negotiating tactic? Either way, it's clear the drama is not going away anytime soon. The trash talk is also getting personal in a way that guarantees interest will only keep growing. Ankalaev is making it clear he's not playing games or pretending there's no bad blood. You can feel the genuine tension. It's not some manufactured beef for the cameras, it's real. And that's exactly why people are so invested. They want to see how it all plays out, who actually gets the next shot, and whether these rivals will eventually settle things once and for all in the cage. Now let's talk about another big story from last night. Ilia Topuria making headlines once again after his impressive first-round knockout win. This was the kind of statement victory that has everyone talking about him as a serious force in the division. But what really stood out was how Topuria handled himself after the fight. He was extremely respectful toward Charles Oliveira, the man he had just beaten. Ilia didn't gloat or trash talk Charles at all. Instead, he had nothing but positive words. He made it clear that, in his view, it doesn't even make sense for him to fight Justin Gaethje next. Why? Because he's got someone else in mind. He really wants to knock Paddy Pimblett out instead. Ilia went on to describe Charles as an amazing human being who represents great values. He talked about seeing Charles with his family and said there's simply no way you can hate the guy. Ilia emphasized that Charles is very respectful, doesn't talk trash about anyone, and is always surrounded by loved ones. In fact, he even said, "There's no one like him," highlighting the deep respect he has for Charles as both a fighter and a man. He acknowledged that when he fought Charles, it was all business. He had to fight him, but he made it clear that the dynamic is completely different with someone like Paddy Pimblett. Ilia didn't hold back at all about how he feels when it comes to Paddy. He said directly, "I'm gonna knock him out and I'm gonna be happy after that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun." There was no hesitation, no politeness, just pure honesty about wanting to hurt his rival in the cage. Ilia also explained his reasoning for wanting to target someone like Paddy instead of Justin Gaethje. He said it doesn't make sense to fight Justin because, in his words, Justin comes from the old school. Ilia's vision is to clean up the division and bring in new faces, new guys who can make things more entertaining and fresh for the fans. He doesn't want to keep fighting the same established names. He wants to push the division forward, inject new energy, and prove himself against the next generation. He finished by saying he'll be ready by the end of the year. It was classic Ilia Topuria, respectful to those he admires, showing class and humility when it's deserved, but absolutely ruthless and unfiltered when talking about who he wants to destroy next. That combination of respect and raw competitiveness is exactly why he's becoming one of the most talked about fighters in the sport right now. Fans can't wait to see what he does next. Moving on to Charles Oliveira's statement about his tough loss. After getting knocked out by Ilia Topuria in what was one of the most talked about fights of the night, Charles didn't hide or make excuses. Instead, he went straight to Instagram to address his fans and supporters. He posted a photo of himself alongside Cutman Tate, showing he was still standing, still there, even after a painful defeat. In the caption he wrote, "It wasn't how he wanted it to be, but for the best. I want to thank everyone for the affection and wonderful energy. God bless you all." Those words were simple, direct, but deeply humble. You could feel the sincerity behind them. He wasn't looking to blame anyone or complain about circumstances. He just wanted to show gratitude for the love and support he received from fans all over the world. Charles also went to X and shared an even shorter message. There he simply wrote, "My apologies." Just 2 words, but incredibly powerful in their humility. No grand speeches, no explanations, no attempts to shift the focus away from the loss. Just an honest, heartfelt apology to those who may have hoped for a different outcome. This kind of response is exactly why Charles Oliveira is so respected in the fight community. He's known for being gracious in defeat, and this moment was no different. Even when things didn't go his way, he carried himself with class. Fans might be disappointed to see him lose, but they also appreciate the way he owns it, accepts it, and thanks everyone who stands by him regardless. It's rare to see fighters at this level show that kind of humility so consistently. Many would lash out, make excuses, or go quiet for weeks. Not Charles. He faced it head on. He acknowledged the result, thanked the people who matter most to him, and kept it moving. That kind of character is what keeps people rooting for him no matter what. The truth is, fights don't always go the way you plan. Even champions fall, but how you respond to those moments says everything about who you are. Charles Oliveira proved once again that he's not just a talented fighter, but also a truly classy human being. Fans respect him not only for his skills in the cage, but also for the way he handles adversity. It's no wonder he remains one of the sport's most beloved figures. Even in defeat, he showed everyone why he's earned that respect, and there's no doubt that when he comes back, people will be ready to cheer him on all over again. Now let's get to another fiery bit of news. Paddy Pimblett did not mince words when talking about his rivalry with Ilia Topuria. He compared it to the famous bad blood between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Paddy was crystal clear. He hates Ilia and wants to disfigure him. He said this fight doesn't even need hype because it sells itself. 2 people who genuinely dislike each other are rare in MMA. Paddy pointed out we haven't seen anything like this since Khabib and McGregor. He said, "I hate him. I wouldn't even want to finish him fast. I'd want to finish him with a minute left after I've elbowed him 700 times. I'd want to disfigure him." The interviewer asked if he felt anything during their recent face-off. Paddy said Ilia didn't push him hard, calling it weak. He even laughed about Ilia being meaningfully smaller than him. When asked about his own weight, Paddy said about 195, and the interviewer told him he looks good. It was classic Paddy. Confident, cocky, and unapologetic about the genuine hatred he has for Ilia. You can tell this rivalry is going to explode if they ever fight. It's deeply personal. Both guys want to hurt each other. And that's exactly what sells fights. You don't need a scripted storyline when there's real animosity. Fans can sense it. They want to see 2 men with history settle it in the octagon. Honestly, it's rare in MMA to see a feud this organic. Both fighters are charismatic, but in totally different ways. Ilia is laser focused and respectful to most, but absolutely vicious when it comes to Paddy. Paddy is brash, loud, and makes no secret that he hates Ilia. The cage face-off that Dana White hated so much actually did its job. It got people talking. Now everyone wants to see them settle it for real. It'll be interesting to see how the UFC handles this. Dana was clear he didn't want that confrontation to happen, but they'll be tempted to promote a feud this intense. Every one of these stories shows why MMA is so compelling. It's not just the fights, it's the personalities, the grudges, the respect, the trash talk, the mind games. Fans love it because it feels real. So stay tuned because it's only gonna get more dramatic from here. Whether it's Dana White shooting down retirements and cage callouts, or fighters dropping raw emotional confessions, there's never a dull moment in the UFC. And we'll be here to keep you updated on every twist and turn.